Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with a new series looking at HiFi. I've been asked about doing something about HiFi recommendations or showing people what I use so many times, and I just haven't found a way of getting into this and thinking how I was going to actually put it together. Well, fate has intervened because I've been approached by a company and they've sent me this product, which is a Phono Preamp, and it's Fosi audio, and it's the Box X5. Now, I am somebody, I love music, as you know, hence what Now Spinning Magazine is all about. But I'm not someone who spends tons on cables. I'm not someone you class as a hi-fi nerd. I love things to sound really good, and I'm very cynical about anything that says, oh, if you buy this, it's going to improve the sound of whatever it is you're playing. I'm always dubious about that. I mean, I know some people are constantly, it's an ongoing journey of tweaking things to try and increase the sound quality. But I'm someone who's quite happy with sound, and it's never really been a big thing to me. So when this arrived, I thought, well, I've got an amp, and I've got an AV amp, and I've got a Phono preamp. So what difference could it make? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you how to connect it. I can't play music through it because to try and show what it's like. But what I will tell you is I'll give you an honest opinion of what I think of this product. I'll show you it in more detail, and I'll show you how to connect it, etc. as well. And then I'll tell you what I think of it, what the difference, if it's made any, to my setup, and given the choice, would I have gone out and bought it myself? I think that's the kind of judge of whether my review is honest and open. Is would I actually buy this to recommend it? Because that's the key thing. And I guess the fact that I'm talking this far would suggest that it's possible. Otherwise, I guess this video wouldn't exist, would it? Anyway, I'll just show you now a bit more from a different camera angle, a bit of detail. And then I'm also going to show you how I connected it. And if you do buy one of these, something to avoid, which a mistake I made when I connected it, which will save you a lot of trouble, because it's something I didn't know myself. And of course, you can let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, and there will be a link to the product for you to have a closer look at as well. Anyway, let's have a closer look at the Box X5. So this is the Fosi Audio Box X5 outside of the box itself. It's a very small bit of kit that's easy for you to put onto your system, as you'll see where I've put in mine in a moment. On the front is the on and off switch, which just be press once to turn on and hold for a couple of seconds to power down. And on the other side are all the controls, or inputs rather. So you've got input for your going out to the amplifier, and then you've got obviously the input coming in from the turntable itself, and an earthing point as well from the turntable. I haven't done that. Mine's still earthed on the amplifier, and there's no interference or no sound whatsoever. And then you've got this setting at the bottom, which is for moving coil stylus or cartridge, and a moving magnet one on the one side. Mine's moving magnet input, so that's what I've got mine set at. And if you've got it on moving magnet, then the manual recommends that you use between the 38 dB and the 48 dB. And if you're on moving coil, then you've got the other settings which go from 56 to 66. But mine I've set on 38. So that's a look at the kit itself, and then I'll show you how I've connected mine up. So this is how I've got the Fosi Audio Phono preamp connected to my system. So what I've done is I've just placed it on top of my Roxanne CD transport. I've also got my Apple TV there. So although it says in instructions don't have it near the turntable, it's underneath this piece of glass here, and there's absolutely no interference at all, and it's got plenty of room there to sit there. It's got plenty of room. It doesn't get warm. And then that's connected into my AV Denim amp, and it's set on game and not phono, because this amp already has a phono preamp stage, and that's very important. I'll tell you what happened when I connected this, and I kept the record player, which is my Technics deck, connected into the phono stage on the amp, and it caused quite a bit of distortion, and it didn't work. So I then changed the cabling at the back to go into the gain input for me, because on the Denon amp, it has all these different things which you can rename, and that's what I've put it in for now. And that works fine. So it sits in there quite well. And I'll now tell you what kind of difference it has made to the sound. So now, what are my thoughts on the sound quality, and has it made a difference to me listening to music on my turntable? And the fact is, it has made a huge difference to how records sound to me. I'm absolutely amazed. I did make a mistake during the setup process, which I hinted at then when I was showing you how it connects in there. And that is because what I use as an amp for my system, I have one system. So I don't have a dedicated HiFi. I use one amp that powers everything. And that's a Denon H6700H, which powers the TV, all the surround sound speakers, the Blu-ray player, the media player, the CD player, the record player, everything that's plugged into it. Literally the subwoofer, everything is in there. And there's room for other things as well. So satellite TV was in there. All sorts of things have been in there. And it's got loads of expansion points for me to do whatever I like. And I chose that particular amp, and it's the most expensive component of my setup because it has a Phono preamp built in. So when I connected the Box 5 into it, I got tons of distortion, and it sounded terrible. I thought, oh God, this isn't going to work with my system. So the mistake I made was that I was basically doubling up on the Phono preamp stages. One was feeding into the other, which was obviously completely overloading the system. So in my case, I mean, if you've got just a dedicated audio amp anyway, it probably wouldn't have this kind of problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but just something to be aware of, is that I then changed the input for my record player, for my Technics SL1500C. I changed that just to go into different inputs. So I took it out of the phono input on the amp just to go into some of the spare inputs, and that amp has got tons of inputs. Then I connected this to the system, and all I can say is I was amazed, because the other thing, and this is where I'm being really honest, I thought, well, as I read up on this, I thought, well, my amp has already got a phono stage and it sounds great. I know there are lots of record players out there that are higher spec than mine, but I've always liked the sound of it. Since I've had it, it's fine. My ears have adjusted to it. I've got really good speakers, tonal speakers, and everything goes through the subwoofer as well, which is an acoustic reference 100. And I thought, well, it's already got it, but I thought, I wonder if, and because I almost didn't connect it, I thought, well, because I've got to pull all the stuff out, there's all the cables and everything. I thought, I wonder if, like with anything that does a multitask, having a dedicated phono preamp would make that much of a difference. I did Google it, and people said, you'll be amazed the difference it might make. And so I did. And it took a while to pull all the stuff out, change the cables and put it back against the wall, and I put it on. And I'd got, when I was playing it, before I connected this bit of kit, I'd got the volume on my amp at 60. I know that doesn't mean anything to you guys, because you don't know, the amp, let's say, goes up to 1,000 something. But it was a good volume to listen to, and I put on Dark Side of the Moon, and it was the 50th anniversary remaster on vinyl, which is a absolutely perfect pressing anyway. So I just left everything on the amp as it was, and then I connected this to the system. And the first thing there was no buzz, there was no, because I didn't connect the earthing to this. The earthing is on the amp. There was no rumble, there was nothing. But what was very apparent as soon as the music started was being at 60 on the volume was absolutely not required at all. So I had to dial it down to 40 because the energy, the sound itself, the volume was a lot louder. And the setting that I have it on, which I said when I showed it you, is on 38 dB. I can also put it on 48 dB for my stylus setting, but I've got it on 38 and it sounds great. I also played more recent music that's coming on vinyl here, and the sound stage, the bass response, the vocals, everything sounded absolutely wonderful. Now, you know what tweaking your hi-fi is like. The first initial wave of like, oh my God, wow, this is impressive. And then 24 hours later, your ears have acclimatized to this improved sound. And I'm sure that always happens. The amount of times, every time I take a step up. But the key thing for me here was that I didn't expect the difference to be what it was. And for the price point here, I think this is amazing. And this is why I'm so cynical with anything to do with hi-fi that says it's going to improve your sound. That sometimes I go on these forums and you'll see if you spend, £500 on a bit of extra cabling, it's going to enhance this or hence that. I do think some of it's snake oil, and I know some of you may not agree with that, but this little thing here, the Fosi Audio Box X5, it's about £100, £110. I think the most I've seen it for is 130, but it literally is just over £100. And the difference it's made to my record player, which is the Technics SL 1500C, which is a good deck, and that amp that I've mentioned, the Denon one, that's the most expensive part of my kit. As I said, it was over £2,000 that was, and so that's another reason why I was kind of dubious, thinking, well, it's over £2,500 worth of amplifier. What difference is a bit of kit that's £100 going to make to the sound of my turntable going through a dedicated phono input on an audiovisual amp? But I plumbed it in, and it's made a huge difference. I'm absolutely loving playing my music. So would I buy this? Yes. I think for £100, well, how much are records? How much are records now? 20 on average, and again, I won't exaggerate, they're about $27.99, are they? So literally 3 albums, and you buy this, and all the albums you've already got are going to sound incredible. So I'm really impressed, and I'm going to put an affiliate link in the description, so there's a special place for you to go and have a look if you want to have a look at. But yes, this is something I would buy myself, and I mean that. And I wouldn't, as you know, with any reviews that I do, unless I believe in something, I just don't do it. So I wouldn't be reviewing this and saying it was rubbish either. There just wouldn't be a video from Now Spinning Magazine talking about it. That's it. I just wouldn't have even put any energy into it. But I'm very happy with this, and the other reason I'm happy and why I'm happy to recommend it is because of the price point. If it was like £350, £400, I'd be thinking, even with the sound, because I prefer to pay music, pay for music. I listen to music. I don't listen to my system, and I think you can sometimes get caught up in that. But this has enhanced my listening experience, and I'm really happy with it. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this. This is the first one in a series. They're not going to come along that often, but I hope to cover things. And again, the whole idea is to help people who just want to gently improve their systems, or even get into buying record players or vinyl or whatever. And if you've got any questions, anything you'd like me to cover in the future on this series, then just get in touch. But please subscribe if you haven't already, and remember, if you become a Patron or YouTube member, you can join our private groups on WhatsApp and Facebook, and we have a twice monthly meetup, our own virtual pub on Zoom called the Now Spinning Arms. Remember, music is the healing of the doctor. Please take care, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.